Welcome back, Chapter 18. I stand on 12th Street in New York and eat the most wonderful slice of pepperoni pizza ever created from a place called Zazzy's. I am free. I don't think I believe it yet. Do you know that feeling when a dream gets weird, good weird? In this case, and suddenly, right in the middle of your nocturnal voyage, you realize that you may indeed be asleep, dreaming, and you fear you're going to wake up, and so you try desperately to stay asleep, clinging tightly to the images in your head, even if they fade away. That is what I've been experiencing for the past few hours. I am terrified that soon my eyes will open and I will be back in Briggs instead of standing on the urine-scented, a smell I welcome because you supposedly don't have sense in your dream, City Street. I stand across the street from where Harriet Winchester, aka Hilde Winslow, now resides. I escaped today. It boggles my mind. Less than 24 hours ago, a prison guard at Briggs tried to murder me. Then, when it seemed that I, the victim, would be blamed for the attack, Philip and Adam broke me out. The crazy events of the day, all in this same day that is still ongoing, come hurtling towards me. I try to volley them away and focus on the task at hand. Hilde Winslow had lied on the stand and helped convict me. The answer to why is my first step in rescuing my son. Rescuing my son. Every time I think about that phrase, I need to bite down and fight back the tears and remind myself of what's at stake. Before Rachel's visit, my son was dead, murdered, perhaps even by my hands. Now, I believe the total opposite. Matthew is alive, and I've been set up. Why? How? I had no idea. One step at a time. The first step is Hilde Winslow. After I rolled out of Philip's car at the outlet mall, I called Rachel to pick me up. She was at a diner. I explained to her where to go and when to be there. Meanwhile, I headed into the employee parking lot. The stores were just open, so most employees were beginning their shifts. That gave me time. Rachel, I knew, was from New Jersey. When the cops put an APB on her car, that's what they'll be focused on. New Jersey license plates in Maine. I found a beat-up Honda Civic with screws loose enough to take off both license plates. Would the owner notice? Probably not for a while. Most people don't check to make sure their license plates are in place before they drive. But even so, even if Mr. and Mrs. Beat-Up Honda noticed, it would be hours from now after their shifts. We would have the head start we needed. Rachel had wisely done as I asked, maxed out all her credit cards at ATM machines. She used 3 credit cards, 2 with an $800 maximum, 1 with $600. Along with the money the Mackenzies had given me, I was financially flushed enough to last a little while anyway. The police would at some point figure out where Philip had really dropped me off. Philip's story, whatever he concocted, wouldn't hold water for more than a day or two. Once Rachel arrived at the back of the outlet mall's parking lot where I was hiding, I hopped in and told her to just keep driving. 2 miles later, we spotted a closed-down restaurant. I told Rachel to pull in behind it. When we were out of sight, I quickly switched out the license plates so that her white Toyota Camry, one of the most common cars in the world, now had Maine license plates. What now? Rachel asked. I knew the manhunt would be massive and immediately, but I also knew that law enforcement is not all-consuming or all-encompassing. The key to any plan was to have a goal. I had but one: find my son. Period. The end. That was my sole focus. So what did that mean in a practical sense? Follow any lead. The biggest one I had, the only one, was Hilde Winslow. She had not only lied on the stand, but she changed her name and moved to New York City. So that became my plan. Get Hilde Winslow as fast as I could. Figure out why she lied. Once I had a destination, it became all about how to divert and obfuscate and muddy the waters. The police would soon realize that Rachel had visited me in prison and put some kind of tracker on her phone. They would also do the same with Phillips and Adams' phone, both in my possession. I'd already shut them down. Is your phone on? I asked her. Yes. Oh shit, they can trace that, right? Should I power it down or something? Wait, I tell her. Why? Once a phone was off, the cell provider wouldn't be able to track us anymore, but they'd be able to tell the police where we were when the phone was last on. I had Rachel drive in the opposite direction of my destination. Once we headed far enough north so that the police would conclude that we were likely headed toward the Canadian border rather than New York City, I had Rachel power down her phone. If we kept it on longer, it would be too much. I concluded overplaying our hand. Now, it would appear as though we started our escape and realized after about 10 or 15 minutes of driving that we needed to turn the phone off. So now what? Rachel asked. I was about to have her make a U-turn and start back toward New York, but I wasn't sure that the phone ping alone would do enough to divert, obfuscate, and muddy. Keep heading north, I said. 20 minutes later, we stopped at a store in whatever that sold survival equipment. I checked for security cameras near the pump. None there. Not that it mattered. They know that I was here soon enough. Rachel filled up her car while I, shopping quickly yet not conspicuously, or so I hoped, bought survival equipment, the kind of stuff I assume people use to hike and camp for an extended period of time. I paid for it all with a MasterCard Adam said that he would forget to cancel. I figured the police would still find out about the car, but it might take a little longer. If not, when the full APB hit, the old man who rang me up would remember my face. That was okay too. With this deep dawn, Rachel and I headed north for another half a mile, just in case someone asked eventually which way the car had gone, before turning around and driving south. We found a Salvation Army donation bin behind an office complex on the outskirts of Boston. I dumped the survival gear in it. According to a sign on the donation box, the next pickup was 4 days away. Good. If somehow the Salvation Army got suspicious of the stuff or called the police, it wouldn't matter. Even if they found us on CCTV up here, so what? We'd be long gone. I just hope the authorities would buy that I was hiding in the woods. When we turned around and started the long drive south at a pharmacy near Milford, Connecticut, I stayed in the car while Rachel brought me a burner phone, clippers, shaving gear, and glasses with the lowest prescription possible. She ended up choosing sunglasses that lightened when you were inside. Perfect. At the next truck stop, I entered the bathroom wearing a baseball cap pulled down low. I rarely shaved in prison, maybe once a week when it gets itchy, so my beard was somewhere between stubble and full growth. I shaved now so that only a mustache remained. Then I cut off all my hair and shaved my head and donned the glasses. Even Rachel was impressed with my disguise. I almost didn't let you back in the car. When we got close to George Washington Bridge, I had Rachel pull off on Jerome Avenue in the Bronx. We backed into a spot where I could put her New Jersey license plates back. Then I tossed the main ones in the outdoor trash can. If the police were fully on this now, and I suspected that they were, they'd probably pick up her New Jersey plate when she crossed the Washington Bridge. I warned her about that. We had been rehearsing what she should do when the police either pulled her over or came to her house. I'm making a lot of problems for you, I say. Don't worry about it, Rachel replies. He's my nephew, remember? You were a good aunt, I say. The best, she replies with a hint of a smile. But if it gets bad, if you get arrested, oh, I'll be fine. I know, but if you get backed into a corner, tell them I forced you to do this at gunpoint. You better go. The Mount Eden Avenue stop on the 4 train was next door. I got on the subway and took it 35 minutes south to 14th Street, Union Square in Manhattan. Once there, I found a Nordstrom rack and brought the cheapest blazer, dress shirt, and tie I could find. It may have been overkill with the shaved head and mustache and glasses, but if someone did figure out I was in New York City, they probably wouldn't look for a man in a sports blazer and tie. From there, it was a 10-minute walk to Hill Winslow address on 12th Street. I stopped on the way for a slice of pepperoni pizza and a Pepsi. When I took the first bite, I felt woozy. I know it is beside the point, but I don't think I ever experienced anything so wonderfully mundane as this first bite of New York City pizza as a free man. It ignited something long extinguished, filling me with memories and colors and textures. I was back in Revere Beach at Sal's with Adam and Eddie and TJ, the whole gang, and man, did that feel right. Now I wait. I wonder about Rachel, of course. She would most likely have been nabbed by law enforcement by now. Did she make it all the way home first? Did the cops pull her over? How much trouble is she in? I wonder about Philip and Adam and what the fallout for them will be. And finally, I think about Cheryl, my ex, and Matthew's mother. Me too. What would she make of my escape? What would Aunt Sophie make of it? If he was able to understand, what would my dad think? It doesn't matter. None of that matters right now. I walk across the street. Will Hill Winslow, aka Harriet Winchester, know that I escaped? I don't know. The building doesn't have a doorman. You have to be buzzed in by an occupant. Winchester, H is listed under apartment 4B. I press the button. I can hear it ringing. Once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th ring, a voice I still recognize from the trial comes crackling through the speaker. Yes. It takes me a second to gain my bearings. I disguise my voice by throwing a pathetic Eastern Europe accent into the mix. Package. Leave it in the vestibule, please. You'll need to sign for it. I had spent the last few hours planning, and yet now, with the chance to get to her so close at hand, I am messing things up. I am not dressed like a delivery man. I don't have a package in my hand. Actually, I say, making it up on the fly, if you give me the verbal okay, I can leave the package here. Do I have your permission to leave it in the vestibule? There is a pause that makes me wonder whether I've made a mistake. Then Hill Winslow says slowly, you have my permission to leave it. Okay, it will be in the corner of the foyer. I hang up. I'm about to step away and consider what to do when I spot a man coming down the stairs towards the front door. For a moment, I wonder whether Hill had asked a neighbor to grab her package. But no, not enough time had passed. As he pushes open the door, I put the phone back to my ear and say, okay, I'll bring it up to your apartment now. I needn't have bothered with the subterfuge. The man passes through the door and heads outside seemingly without a care in the world. I stop the closed door with my foot and slip inside. I let the door close behind me. Then I head up the stairs towards apartment 4B. Sarah's phone buzzed. She stared at the incoming message. You were right, Max. About the license plates. Max had found it bizarre that no one had spotted Rachel Anderson's car during a long trek from Maine back to New Jersey. The first working theory was that she kept off the main road, but a quick review of traffic patterns told them that she wouldn't have made it on time if she completely stayed off toll roads. A guy named George noticed his license plates were missing when he finished his shift at LL Bean. I assume George is a Maine resident. Yep. So Burroughs and Rachel switched the plates, took off her New Jersey ones and put on the Maine ones. Except when the port authorities spotted her car crossing the bridge, she switched them back. Max finished for her. So the question is, when did she do that and why? We know why, don't we, Max? I guess we do. Yeah. Sarah's phone buzzed again. She stared at the screen and said, "Whoa, what? We've been following up on Rachel Anderson's recent calls. And after she visited Burroughs at Bridge, she reached out to an old colleague from the Globe for a favor." "What kind of favor?" "She wanted to get the murder book on Matthew Burroughs." Max mulled that over. "Does the old colleague have that kind of juice?" "He does not. But Rachel asked for something else specifically." "And what's that?" "She wanted the social security number of a witness in a murder trial, a woman named Hilde Winslow." "I remember that name." "Winslow testified that she saw Burroughs bury a baseball bat." "Right, older woman as I recall." "Correct, Max. But here's where it gets weird. Apparently, Hilde Winslow changed her name not long after the trial to Harriet Winchester." They both looked at each other. "Why would she do that?" Max asked. "No clue. But here's the kicker. Hilda Harriet also moved to New York City." She squinted at her phone. 135 West 12th Street to be exact. Max stopped chewing. His hands dropped to his side. "So Rachel Anderson visits David Burroughs in prison. After they meet, she asks about a key witness in the case, one Burroughs claimed lied on the stand, and finds out that she changed her name and moved." He looked up. "So where do you think Burroughs is heading? To confront her? Or worse?" Max started for the airport exit. "Sarah, what? Get us a car to New York and call our Manhattan office. I want Hilde Windsor Place swarming with cops right now." That's the end of chapter 18. Max and Sarah, they good. They are figuring this stuff out quick. And Rachel did help him, after all. And he's at what's her name? Hilda's place now. And how old did they say she was? 83, 86? So do you think she's going to let them know what's up? Or is she just going to keep going and going with the lie? I guess we shall find out. Do you think the cop's going to make it there in time for? No, because David is already at Hilda's place. We just gonna have to find out, y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in the next chapter. Bye.